it's 4 good thoughts. And what I do, if I have a bad thought, I write it down. If I have a good thought, something that gets me excited, I write it down. And then throughout the day, I'm kind of reviewing those things. And when you look at the things that are bad thoughts, something was frustrating, something didn't work, someone was rude to me, I called to get an estimate on a product or a service, and they couldn't deliver and they weren't kind to me. All of these things might be bad thoughts. Recognize them, write those things down. And then, toward the end of the day, what I'm doing is also reevaluating these thoughts and saying, how bad was it? Should I have been worried about this negative thought? Did it cause me harm? Did I think about it? And shout out to my friend Elizabeth, who had shared this with me. She said, think about it. Is it going to bother you for 5 seconds, for 5 minutes, for 5 hours, for 5 days, or for 5 years? Most of the things, if you allow it, are only going to bother you for 5 seconds. Let it come in, write it down. This bothered me. Someone was rude. Someone cut me off when I was driving to Leesburg. Someone said that they were going to follow up and never followed up with me. Write those things down. But conversely, write down the good things. Things that give you goosebumps. Things that bring you to tears. I'll give you a quick example. We are having some work in our home. And there's been a company, local company that's been helping us with the input of new flooring. And these folks only want to try to do their best to help us. The product as it was not as it was described or as it was imaged. And yet these people there's probably 8 people at our house this morning. That's why I was running a little bit late, trying to help us. So shout out to Loudon Valley Floors, because they're really trying to help make us happy. So as I was driving away, I saw both of them talking about the plan. One of the sales person responsible for sales and one of the major installers. And I found my gratitude slips in my pocket, and I gave one to one gal, and gave a handful to the other gentleman who was a crew with them. And I said, "You guys are doing your best to help us. It's not an easy situation. It's not your fault that they said the flooring looked like this and it came out this way. Thank you for helping us." And I got to tell you, just that little simple touch of gratitude in saying thanks almost brought them both to tears, right? They're just holding it, and that's something. So that's something that I'm going to write down in my good thoughts, right? So bad thoughts and good thoughts. And then at the end of the day, again, what were the bad thoughts? Did it really affect me? Was it for, thank you, Elizabeth, was it for 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 hours, 5 years? And just let them go. And then the good thoughts, let me relive those good thoughts, because that's going to give me fuel and energy to be able to do it more, to want to do it more. So I know I started. Thank you for your technical assistance, Darian, Colette, everyone, broadcasting and streaming to thousands and thousands of folks as well. I don't know if I just did you justice, but please jump in.
Well, thank you. Yeah, sorry about that. Was just getting all the technical stuff together. Bart's very helpful with everything. So thank you, Bart, for taking ownership while I got all that together. And I also wanted to ask you a question just on your story. Do you think as you increase with your gratitude and your ability to, because I see it firsthand, you give to others all the time. Do you think the depth of how you thank or show appreciation has really increased to actually affect people greater, like the way they, teared up just thank you today?
Yeah, I think a couple things. And you were with me a couple weekends ago when we were presenting to a group in DC. I believe that it is making a difference, because people that I talked to after this, I shared a gratitude stone with a company that owns it's called Ray's Produce in Bethany Beach, Lewis, Delaware. Every time you go to this produce place, it doesn't matter if they're an owner or not an owner, every single employee is so proud to be there, so happy to be there, and it's infectious. And I'm sharing this because I was so impressed the first time I went there. Someone ahead of me in line said, "Are these cookies any good?" So they sell baked goods in addition to this fresh produce. And sure enough, it wasn't even one of the owners. She's just like, "Well, let's taste them." Crack them open, open up the plastic thing and said, "Here, let's try one." That little simple gesture, yes, they open up a $6 container of cookies, but that's good and well, and that's nice. Anyway, I gave him a gratitude song, and this was 6 months ago, 9 months ago. We were revisiting a few weekends ago, and I reintroduced myself. I actually wrote a story about it because one of the Haley is just so very kind. She acted like she knew me. She's just like, "Oh, nice to see you again. Nice to see you again." Then we started talking, and then it clicked. She said, "I have the gratitude stone you gave me an album." I gave her another one. She put it in the cash register drawer, so everyone could enjoy that nice gratitude stone. So what I'm hearing from people is that it means something to them. Am I answering your question? So I think yes, it's making a difference.
So you are answering my question, but I'm also asking from a personal place of development that I know will also help viewers. I'm somebody who shows appreciation pretty often, but I sometimes don't have the best ability to show my emotions to the depth I want to. And I'm reading this book that talks about how, a lot of how we interact and do things in life is based off of fear from childhood at some point of how you learn to cope with things. And for example, some people might take a fear, it can be in ways you didn't even recognize. You might have a fear that you internalized it and decided I can be perfect in this way. And in that way, like maybe if it's your parents or whatever, when you're perfect, things are good at home. Or like if you don't show a certain amount of emotion, you don't get looked at in a weak way, or so you have fears that then lead to like anxiety or other symptoms, and you learn how to navigate that. So for me, the reason that I was bringing it up is I often tell people I appreciate you, thank you, right? But when you do it, when I do it, sometimes I'm thinking about how they're receiving it, and that might get in my own head. Like I want them to receive it this way, and instead of me just giving forth good positive energy, I might like have that like skittish standoffish, like I don't know if they're receiving it the way I want them to. But you don't really, I mean, from what I've seen, you don't really interact in that way. It's just forward good energy to where you're giving it and you're not expecting anything.
Look, and it's so funny you said that because, and it's almost like giving me a gift. If I give you something that I drew a picture of your 2 kids, I drew a picture of your 2 kids. You sent your baby photo, your baby 9 months. Your son is 4 years old.
He's 4, yeah.
I'm good.
Daughter's
Daughter,
can't forget her.
10 months.
10 months.
Okay, 10 months and a 4-year-old son.
Yep.
Yeah, we got it. Iris and
Emmy.
All right, I'm getting there.
Okay.
So anyway, that's when I drew a picture and I spend time drawing a picture to give it to you and you're like, oh, well, this is nice. I'll look at it later. It should be about your reaction because your reaction to it probably has nothing to do with me or the gift or the generosity or anything. And what I learned is I'm not giving it to expect something in return. I'm giving it from my heart. I'm content with that. I'm learning. I deal with this. But if I give something and if someone would immediately put it in the pocket, because that happened before, right? Someone didn't understand the warmth and love I was giving the gratitude stone with, and they just put it right in their pocket. And I had to be okay with that. My first reaction was, you don't know how special that stone is. Let me tell you what it means for me to give you a stone. I have to get over that. We all have to get over that. Because giving is about giving, it's not about reaction. It's talking to a buddy of mine, Jeff Hickman, who you would know from the collective. And we did a podcast. I called him and I just said, the podcast that I did today was amazing. Yours and hers together was amazing. But I wanted to thank you for it. And he hung up the phone. He's like, okay, love you, brother. And I didn't have a chance to say it back. But that's okay. He's not going to think Josh Parker and say, love your brother back. Yeah. So that's okay. You have to be confident, I think, enough with your own actions to be able to give forgiving mistakes. And I learned a lot from my wife, just one last part. I learned a lot from my wife, Barry, is that she doesn't have expectations expectations. If people go above and beyond for her birthday, she doesn't want it necessarily, she doesn't expect it, she appreciates it, but because she doesn't set unrealistic expectations, she's not disappointed. It is what it is. You can choose to react however you choose to react. I want you to be excited for my birthday, but she appreciates everything, but she doesn't expect too much. If that makes sense. What were you going to say?
Just while you were talking, something that kind of resonated with me that you didn't explicitly say, but came to me while you were speaking is, and it might be a new way I might try to start looking at things. But you're not expecting anything in return, right? It boils down to the whole thing that we're talking about today with perspective, that when you give, you're not expecting something. It's all about how you look at it. And when you give, it feels like you're giving a gift to somebody, whether it's just, even a thank you can be considered a gift.
Yeah.
Like if you give and you feel like you're giving something of value, then it doesn't really matter their response because you've already given from your heart and satisfied a part of you that wants to give.
Yeah, and that's something to learn, right? That's definitely something that we all need to learn. We'll do a little standing ovation.
Hey, I didn't know it. You guys already started, but
Yeah, we started. It's okay.
hey everyone, my name is Kirby Hart, and I am the leader of the Nation of Motivation. I'm sorry I'm late, but I usually don't apologize for being present, but it's okay. Hey everyone, this is another day for us to encourage bright and beautiful ideas within ourselves, to motivate ourselves to see that the world is for us to see, and be nice to each other and treat each other with kindness. Today I dedicated it to being the
Mastery of oneself.
Mastery of oneself. When you master yourself, you know, my hairstyle usually throws people off. They're like, yo, what's going on with his hair? He's like just standing out a lot. It's the whole point. I want to peacock. I want to show off me being me. But it's also just saying, hey, be yourself and don't care. The more I just stand out and just say, hey, I don't care. This one person said, hey, you have a pineapple on your head. I'm like, okay, who cares?
Are you jealous?
Exactly. Why do you care so much about how I am me?
Best pineapple you've ever seen.
Exactly. Just let me be me. And you know, it's funny. It looks just like that. So I made fun of myself, but I'm like, hey, I can enjoy being me, but nobody else should be able to just bully me and just be like, hey, I don't like the way you look. Like, okay, is that supposed to be my problem? No, that's yours.
Yeah.
And this just speaks to what we were just speaking about right before you walked on. Is it's all about perspective and how you look at things. And he just told us a story about how, because I was asking a question.
Yeah.
When you give thanks or you give to people, sometimes I get, and I know I have a lot of friends actually dealing with this right now. You get in your head, you overthink. And like, even though it came from the heart up until you giving it, when you're in the act of giving it, it's easy to get into your head and like not give the best energy when you're giving, even when you're giving thanks. Like me, I'll be like, I appreciate it. I say I appreciate it because it sounds better than thank you. But if I say it monotone, you're not going to receive it.
You're not going to receive it well. It's like, hey, I thank you. And I'm so grateful for our audience that joins us at this moment. You know, we give our time and dedication to empowering people at any moment in time to give them a change of thought. Like I host a safe space on my community. It's an app called Discord. I don't like the word because words have power, and you know, I'll digress from that later. But we host a safe space for people to help rethink their way they go. So I hope this is 24 hours where I sit there and I'll hear like, hey, are you okay? And they're like, hey, I'm thinking this and I'm thinking that. And I'm like, well, your thoughts are going to affect you. And the way you think about yourself will bring those things into your life, because it starts with a thought and then a word, then an action. It's all based off how you think. And I've been teaching people how to rethink their thought process so they're not defeating themselves and they're starting to move forward in life. And I've gotten so many great answers from people. They're like, hey, I started home teaching, homeschooling my children. They're eating more healthy. They're learning more ambitiously. They're like, it is amazing the results of what's going on.
Yeah.
So things are really changing, and I'm impressed within 6 months of me starting my TikTok,
Yeah.
just to help people change their mindset about how they live their lives. So from just journaling, meditating, and putting action behind your words, they've seen their lives transform, where they've just been like, hey, I believe my words and I'm gonna follow them through.
Yeah, and think about
Rewiring your brain.
And I want to get back to the path that you were going down was about giving things.
Yeah.
And I guess also giving things when you don't have expectations in return. Think about that. You are giving of your time. And like unbelievable how much time you are spending with the community that you are building, that we are building collectively. It's a full-time job for you. And did I hear something that you were on the channel 24 hours in a row? To be able to help
Yes,
people?
yes.
Okay.
So while I was on vacation, I was spending time within a community of hosting a safe space.
Yeah.
So it was me and this stay-at-home mother she's not a stay-at-home mother, she's a full-time business entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So she literally is a full-stack web developer, and she is an amazing person. She's juggling 2 daughters, and she's doing all this, like managing the home and everything. It's amazing how she's doing it. I was just there with her, like throughout all her day, just hearing all the chaotic things that were coming her way. But I was helping her, like, hey, think this way. Don't like, hey, maybe you should talk to your daughters. Like, hey, she's like, my daughter won't get in the car. I'm like, hey, tell her, so if I leave, are you going to get in the car? And her daughter got in the car. It's because it's a different perspective.
Yes. And the point that I was trying to make is that is amazing that you were spending that much time with one person in a safe space, and you are not expecting anything back.
Nothing.
Okay. And the same thing with you, taking time off from your schedule, from your kids, to come and to be able to share with thousands upon thousands of people a good thought that they can take. If we were doing it, and there's been a lot of controversy, and I want to make sure I'm looking at you, but then also, I'm going to look closely. There's been a lot of controversy about people that are self-help gurus, and maybe they didn't, I don't need to mention their names, but maybe they didn't get this degree. Maybe they weren't a medical professional. Maybe they weren't this. And it appears as if they were doing it for glory and fame and for money. But what happens is those people get caught because they're not true and authentic. And what I'm learning, and I've learned from several friends, is if you identify why you are doing what you're doing, is the first answer ever money?
No.
It's never, right? Go ahead, please.
I was gonna say too, this is something I've learned, because there was a period where things worked for money.
Yeah.
And you don't get the same enjoyment, the same fulfillment.
You don't get
out
the
of
value
anything
of
when
it. You don't
do
get
it
to
for
enjoy
money.
it. You don't enjoy it.
There was a period I was doing like $6
billion
things, no, $6 billion. I mean, I was getting a lot of money from investments, but I was doing a lot of things all at once.
Yeah.
But all it would do is just drain me at the end of the day, rather than building up my energy.
Right. A very successful business person, local, said, when I talked to him a couple months ago, he's like, it is the most soul-sucking job I've ever had. It's like, okay, so what are you gonna do about it? I need to do something different, is what this gentleman told me. And he's making paths to do things that he can still earn a living, but something that is gonna fulfill his soul. The point that we are not sharing good ideas, I'm not sharing a gratitude so because I need anything in return. You know, we're not doing this because we need 10,000 more followers. There could be 1 million people watching us right now, or there could be one.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. We're just here to just empower people and tell you just go after your goal and believe in yourself. My whole community is all based upon people learning to just believe in themselves. I always tell them, don't depend on me. Look in the mirror and see that you are the hero, not me. You are. We're all the directors, the authors of our story. So believe in yourself, and you will see it's all through you. You can do anything.
All right, so
Sorry, I just wanted to make one quick comment.
Yeah.
We just round robin. I wanted to make a comment on what the perspective you gave that mom.
Yeah.
Because, recently I've been doing the bulk load of parenting along with working, podcast, YouTube, TikTok. Like I'm doing a lot of things. So I feel like I can sympathize very well with what she's going through. I got a 10-month-old, a 4-year-old. And one thing I found is even for kids, it's all about perspective. You can force them to do something in terms of like negative reinforcement. I found that has negative repercussions later, but if you can figure out a positive reinforcement, like that same scenario, if she would have, maybe convinced her daughter, like, we gotta hurry, like it's a spacecraft, we got 10 seconds, they're counting off, we're gonna take, this spacecraft's gonna take off.
You gotta trick the kids to thinking that it's a whole adventure when you get in the car, instead of them thinking, now we gotta go get in the car, we're gonna go to see the doctor or something like that. You gotta trick them. Kids are basically, you have to trick them.
For kids, their whole perspective is everything's a game. So if you can incorporate that, and then make life more fun, even for yourself.
For yourself and your kids, and then you'll see life is meant for you to have fun with you and your kids.
Okay, so how can our viewers and listeners deal with a challenge, have a different perspective, and make it into a game? And let's think about something that any of us, right, are currently going through. And how can we not take it too hard? How can we not take it so serious? How can we just realize that it's okay? Are there any things that pop into your mind that have been a challenge that you're just like, if I can think about this challenge differently, I'm able to get through it? Whether you're changing your perspective and making it a game, which is also changing your perspective. Does any specific story come to mind, Kirby, first?
Oh man, so you remember that accident I had about in November? So I got in an accident where I got rear-ended, like going 50. A guy rear-ended me going 50, and just when I started my TikTok, he was just teaching people about manifestation, just how to change their minds and just start journaling. So after that, a week after that, I got in a car accident and was literally, my car, I lost control of it and it swung into a barrier. Yes, I got out, started praying, I was like, hey, thank you I'm still alive. And the police came and they beat me up because they said I was drunk. I got thrown in jail for 24 hours and they took my phone, didn't give me a lawyer or anything like that. So lo and behold, I'm literally just sitting in the cell. I'm praying, saying, hey, I can't wait to get home. I can't wait to get home. I can't wait to get home. And I kept saying this and thinking this the whole entire time. And I was like, I will never see a cell ever again. I'll never see a cell ever again. I kept doing this. The next day, I get out and I'm like, I'll never go back to jail. I don't know what happened, but I want whoever did this to be paid for this because I had no idea what happened. And the lesson is I'm still battling this case right now. And my perspective is, how do I defend myself in a case where I didn't do it?
Right.
So my whole perspective on life has shifted. I said, you know what? This is a lesson, but I don't know how.
You don't know what the lesson is.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah.
And the thing is, right now, they're trying to plead with me, and I don't want to speak on the case anymore, but
sure. Yeah, got it.
They're basically trying to throw it out.
Yeah, understood. Dismiss it. And thank you for sharing. And right, the lesson is sometimes crummy things happen and we don't necessarily know why. And you know what? 6 months from now or tomorrow, or the text message that you're going to get from your followers is going to say, I'm with you.
Yeah.
This is the lesson that I learned. Hang in there. Like, things will be okay. But whatever that is, it's cool that you are sharing that, right? Thank you, right? Thank you for sharing, because it's not easy to share, because you don't know what the
cause
The cause or the lessons.
And you're still going through it.
Yeah, I'm still going through
Yeah.
it, but it's like, it's still, it's not stopping me. I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm still here, and I'm like,
It's smiling.
I'm smiling every day, and I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm telling people to keep going no matter what. Like, no matter what life tries to throw my way, I still learn to turn a negative into a positive. I've been teaching people to say, hey, you know what? The universe is teaching me a lesson somehow. Oh, you know, the universe is working in my favor. So yesterday I locked myself out of my apartment, and I'm like, dang, how am I gonna get in? I'm literally in my jammies. So the first thing is, my negative mindset was like, okay, I'm a big black guy in a predominantly white neighborhood. So like everybody's gonna think, hey, you don't belong here. Or I'm gonna call the cops. So that was my first mindset. I was like, no, let me not go down that road. So I went down the stairs, and I'm like, somebody's gonna be there to open the door. And then boom, I got in, and I got back into my apartment. Instead of thinking so negatively, I reversed it and said, I'm gonna find my way back in.
Yeah.
So that's how you defeat a self-defeating mindset of just, instead of kicking yourself while you're down, pick yourself up.
Yeah. And imagine, I know you have a story, but imagine this. If you're working for a big company, and I'm speaking from experience, and all of a sudden, your big boss wants to meet with you Friday at 3 p.m. Well, is there anything I need to be prepared for? No, it's just a one-on-one catch-up. I have some things to talk to you about. What happens? 3 p.m., big boss, no agenda, you don't need to be prepared for anything. Oh my God, like it just even makes me sick to my stomach, negatively thinking of that.
Yeah.
But what if it was, there's a really interesting project that we need you to work on. Would you consider it? And I'm sharing, that's what happened to me. Right, 3 o'clock on a Friday, big boss, years ago.
Wow.
But we have a special project and we think you'd be perfect. Can I tell you a little bit about it? You have the right character, the right personality. You're really the only one that can help us.
Yeah.
What if I would have gone into that thought process before, instead of worrying, my big boss wants to talk to me. Do they want to talk to me about this, about this, about this? Oh, you know what? I was a little direct with the customer and we lost this one contract. No, I should have gone into it with a good mindset. There will be great stories. There will be great lessons as a result of this conversation. But then also, what's the worst that can happen? What, I lose my job?
Yeah.
I get in trouble?
Yeah.
I get written up? You know what? I can handle that. And I want to hear your story. And then I want to come back to this perception. Military, are you familiar with the saying, but did you die?
Yeah, of course.
I want to ask that question and have your answer, but I know you had a story going back to what we were talking about. When was there an obstacle that you had to get through with positive thinking, or however I just phrased it?
I've had a very recent occurrence that I meant to actually share with you, but I had it, so this would be a good time. I participated in a hackathon for AWS's cloud. And
this guy's a genius. He's a genius, by the
I
way.
could tell.
before I ended up doing the hackathon, I was going to join this team. And I talked to them, everything was set. I was like, awesome. Friday comes around, Monday, I work from home. Tuesday, I'm like, oh yeah, let me hit them up, see like if we're going to start the hackathon. I messaged them and they fully formed the team and forgot about me. And I was like, okay, well, that messes up my plan. So now I had to figure out a new idea, a new team, and I had the organizer messaging me. Like, hey, so, you don't have a team, you don't have an idea, what's the plan? I'm like, well, it looks like there is no plan right now. So my first thought was like, just drop out of this. Like, that's the easy route. I could just drop out. This is a volunteer thing I've never done before. But I ended up brainstorming with her, and I was like, I do have a decent idea that I've been wanting to do for a while, but I don't know how other people are going to take it. And she's like, okay, well, here's 4 people on your team. Go ahead and share your idea. I was like, okay, shouldn't they know my idea first before I share it? I was like, what if it's not a good idea?
You gotta believe in yourself. That's why when the idea you come up with, just know that when you start building it, I call it building on the thought. When you see an idea, you start building on it. You start building the foundation. You say, hey, it's solid. You see, solid like this floor. You start standing on the idea and you say, you know what? I'm gonna follow it and see what happens. That's how life becomes easy for you when you start following your own ideas about what you want to create for yourself.
And I mean, that's what I did. So I built out basically the problem was that the phone calls that we do with customers are recorded, but there's no transcript and there's no like summarization of the call. So I came up with an idea using different API calls to create a transcribe of the recordings that could be accessible for all engineers, and like the next engineer could get a full summary. And I basically did the whole project because everyone was busy and I was like last minute formed a team and we all didn't know each other, but they still helped, and I appreciated all their help. But I still did most of the project. So I was still nervous in that regard that this is my first hackathon, I'm doing most of the project. And the day came around where we were supposed to speak and one guy couldn't be there he came up with like a third party program. He couldn't speak to that part. So I had to like catch up on that part that he did. And then I presented the whole thing. And after I was done, I was like, that went so bad. Like I know I could hear my ums in my head. I was the first person to go, so there was like no cues for anything. I was just standing there, and then they were like, and I was like, oh, okay. And I had to read over, and there was like no structure per se when I went. I just kind of winged it, and then everybody who followed had me to work off of. So then, I left a little early. I talked to one of the executives that were there overseeing it.
Yeah.
And the exec basically, I told him like, man, I need to work on my speaking. I know that went terrible. And he's like, come talk to me later, right? And I'm like, that can't be good. So then I go back, right? And I end up winning third place out of 32 contestants.
See that?
This
is based off self-belief.
So I was surprised. I was surprised I won third place. But I was happy. I was like, man, and they told me I lost by 2 points, so I really could have won first if I really wanted to.
See, next time they're gonna be like, oh man, you should just host it. Watch.
Right? I mean, probably not next time, but the time after that.
Kervin and I are both protective of you. We're ready to say, of course you can do it. He's a genius.
I mean, I that's the thing. I started volunteering for everything, and this was something I volunteered for just to get out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And then I ended up talking to my exec, and he lets me know, he's like, hey man, first off, you did great. Like, get out of your head, you did amazing, but I wanted to share a story with you. And so he shares a story with me when he was in the military and he had to present to a high school, but there was news reporters and everything. It was his first time. And he thought he did terrible, but he did great. And he just wanted to tell me, like, more people, everybody's listening to you for your message. They're seeing what's coming out, and they don't have an expectation per se. They're just taking in what you're giving out. So all the all the things you think you can improve on, that's all in your head. You can improve upon it later, but when you're in the moment, you're doing your best. That's all that you can do.
And I'm even not jealous, but you have great contact with the camera, right? I know I should be facing just great. I probably should be facing the camera more, but what's more important to me, that yes, they're important, but I want to make sure that I'm here, and then also my neck is still a little weird. You're doing a phenomenal job of talking to the camera, like holy cow, like a news reporter. You know?
Yeah, for real.
So compliment to you, and maybe it's not the most comfortable, but you're doing an incredible job. You're doing an incredible job.
Hey, I'm trying to like give one thing, just give attention to the audience, but obviously, give you guys as much information and information as we can to empower you to see that this was just a thought, and now this thought is now an idea, and now we're here behind this camera to an action. Yes. You see, and now we'll see the reaction of us empowering each other to continuously go on every day saying, hey, I can do it. And that's what we need to see every day. And if we see it, we believe in ourselves. And the more we believe in ourselves, the more we see. It's all through self-belief. Believe in yourself. You can achieve anything. You are the star of this movie. So why don't you get to it and just show the world that you can do it?
Kirby, my neck hurts.
Yes.
And I had 2 procedures done last week. And I still, by the middle of the day, my face is flushed because I'm in pain. Right? I'm in pain. I want to make sure that when we're done, I'm just sharing thoughts, that everything goes smoothly, that we can't see necessarily comments because we're far away from the monitor right now.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that it's important, that it's impactful, that people are liking it. I would love immediately to go to LinkedIn and see that there were 4,379 people that were looking just at this live version. Okay. When I get done speaking, I asked often for people to text me. You saw that, I think, the example. And I have to be very careful because when I got off stage, I want to spend time with the audience. People lovely want to come up sometimes and talk to me. Great. But then my next thought is, let me go to see how many out of the 500 people sent me a text because they want to stay connected and they want access to my most frequently highly requested slides. Because sometimes people are taking pictures during the presentation. I said, look, I'm going to make it easy for you. If we connect, you send me a text, I've created a custom landing page just for your group so you can get it. I have the tendency to want to go and look how many. And so if 500 did it out of 500, I'm real happy. If 37 did it out of 500, I'm like, okay, gosh, what did I do wrong? Was the message not there? And I'm sharing this with you because my neck hurts.
Yes.
I'm getting flustered. I'm getting a little bit of a headache.
Yes.
But I can't think about that right now.
Yes.
So I'm going to adjust my chair as I did. Because I can't really do this. That hurts, right? So I'm adjusting my chair.
Yes.
And in my mind, I'm trying to think, this is important. It doesn't matter if my face is flustered.
You don't allow them to build on the
No, I
negativity.
can't.
You kick it to the side.
Yeah, I feel good. I feel great. I could not be better. I feel good. I feel great. And look at what is happening. I feel good. I feel great. What is happening? We're not looking at red flashes. We're looking at goosebumps. I feel good. I feel great. And that is going to help. And that's kind of the whole mindset.
Yes.
I need to share this one quick story. I was a volleyball coach at Loudoun County High School for a while. JV team. Yeah. Phenomenal teams, phenomenal reputation, phenomenal girls, players. And so there was this one player that didn't have confidence when she was serving. So she would get back and she would just look down and you could see her whole demeanor. She loved being in the front row doing spikes and blocks, but when she went to the back row, she just had this mental block about not being able to serve well. And you could see, I'm like, and she'd come around and she's like, yeah, no, stay in and serve. Like, run my 10 points, it didn't even matter. Stay in and serve. And we would go through this exercise and you both will laugh. I said, okay, are you ready to serve? And she bounced the ball and she's looking up, like, you're not ready yet. I said, what do you mean, coach? You're not ready yet. Bounce the ball and start to look up. So she bounced the ball and she'd start to look up a little bit, right? Not having that body language of, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. And then even if there's a timeout before they're trying to slow her down and ice her, I said, do this. Give me your superwoman pose. And she would stand here like this. Am I still in frame? I'm not still in frame.
No,
but you understand, right? Hands on the shoulder, hands like this, right? And just look up and be like, I can do it. And when she did that, and I don't want this to sound like a silly thing, but when she did that she looked up and she was superwoman, or she was supergirl, or superpowers, or super whatever, right? Superpowers. She looked up and she was then more likely than not to be able to make that serve and get it over and often score points. But it was the thinking. It's the thinking. So what advice, if you don't mind me transitioning, what advice can we give to people about, okay, you listened to us for 47 minutes, great. What can they do now as a takeaway? I'm sure they're writing down notes, but what can they do now?
What they can do now, it starts with starting to be more present. Be more present than anything. I wish we were in a frame, but it's okay. be more present than anything. The more you're present, the more you see. It's all about being in the present moment. So that's why I ask people to see opportunities come to them with their own thought process and what they're thinking and what they're believing is coming into their lives. So I always tell people when I see them that opportunity are coming their way. When I see them, I always tell them money is coming their way. I see abundance coming their way because I see that through your own words you say and what you believe will come to others. So that's why I always speak kindness to others because I want to see the reflection come back to me.
And just to reemphasize something that Bart was talking about, and you with visualization, I had saw an experiment done that basically was what you did for your as a coach, where first it started off with the question, what does it mean to throw like a girl? What does it mean to hit like a girl? And then they asked boys, what does it mean to throw like a boy, hit like a boy, right? And the girls, when they were younger, it was an empowering statement. The older girls, it was a statement that was diminishing their power. And for the boys, it remained powerful the whole way. And for the older girls and the younger girls, they then showed them a video of like super powerful women playing sports, or it'd be like, it was just an assortment of things. It was like a collective video showing powerful women. Yeah. And then they asked them the same phrase, so what does it mean to you to throw or run or jump or work like a girl? And it became for all of them, became a empowering statement. And it again goes to show the way that you put things into perspective really influences the words of the action itself.
Like I've been telling my community to listen to meditation music while they do things to ease their minds into doing it. So while one of the single mothers that was in my safe spaces, that I tell her she was playing meditation music while she was doing things to organize her life, and it helped her because it was easy music because it's all through frequency. Everything you hear, you start to ride the waves of music, and it eased her into organizing her life, and she changed her whole perspective because my advice of just saying, hey, listen to some music to ease your head, hold yourself in a better vibration of a thought process, and then hearing music that helps you focus on one thing. So it's like building a playlist for going to the gym. Most people do that, right?
Yes.
So build a playlist for you organizing your life.
Yeah. Yeah, because you might do it for relaxation, but why not for organization? Why not for study? Why not for creativity?
Wow.
Yeah, and then I know there's certain vibrational levels that help bring in.
Incorporate this. So I've been looking into the frequency, there's certain frequencies that work with the brain to, one, they heal the body and they heal the brain. So it's like, okay, if I can use this and talk over it and say, hey, this is going to help somebody, it more than likely will, because it's so there's 528 is the healing frequency, helps heal DNA. So all my videos on TikTok are all featured that. Literally, I've been doing that for over 6 months. So all my followers have not been knowing that every word that I've been helping has been helping them heal their DNA. So me giving back to people, me doing research into frequency to help, one, say words to help people heal, but also use the frequency behind it to help them heal. So it's like, hey, have a great day. You're amazing. And they're like, wow. Thank you. Like, I've gotten paid just to say thank you. Like, you're amazing, and it's my greatest pleasure. I wake up every day happy.
Being paid with love, paid with
time, just time, just love, time, and appreciation.
All right, and let me share a little appreciation to both of you. So I just went and checked. We're about 44 minutes in, so I want you all to share a couple more stories.
Yeah.
But one of the comments was, that young man is one of the best people I've ever seen or heard.
Mm.
That young man
Yeah.
is one of the best people I've ever seen or heard.
All
That person not talking about me, unless he's calling me a young man.
of us.
But-
Like your perspective is all your perspective,
Yeah, no.
but I accept all gratitude for who sent that.
And that
I
was
send it back to you.
Yeah,
You're amazing too.
And that was my point. It didn't matter who between two of you, right? It does not need to come to me. I'm happy that it came to you because there's abundance in the world. And the best thing is, it doesn't matter who it was, the gentleman with the jeans or the gentleman with the white sweatpants on. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, which is the coolest thing. Can I get back to perception?
Yeah.
Thoughts,
Yeah.
what we tell ourselves, we have the superpowers, we can make the serves.
So my greatest thing that I've been saying is the universe is working in my favor. So whenever I have a challenge, I say the universe is working in my favor. So this is how I counter a negative thought. I say, you know what? The universe is working in my favor, and somehow I'm learning a lesson, because life is about lessons, not L's. I don't take L's, I take lessons. I learn lessons. Every day is a lesson. So every day is a lesson. So instead of taking L's, I take lessons. And when I take a victory, it's the double victory with a,
Yeah.
no, it's a W. So the first victory, I won in thought.
Yeah.
Second one, I won and actually did it. I went and actually put action behind it.
Yeah. Oh, I
So
love that.
W. So now I'm changing the way people think. It's like, hey, my first victory, I didn't defeat myself in thought. Some people say, I can't do it. I can't do it. No, say I can and I'm going to do it. And it already happened. And then it'll happen because you have to believe in yourself.
Yes. Outstanding. Outstanding. I wanted to ask you the question from a military lens about the phrase, did you die? Circling back, my call with the big boss years ago, it ended up being a really nice thing. It was an opportunity for a project. I was thinking that it could have been something negative. Lesson, right? Learning, lesson, not a loss, it was a lesson for me. The aspect of what's the worst that can happen? And I think sometimes people need to, if you have all these negative thoughts, well, what's the worst thing that can happen if someone doesn't open the door for me, or if someone is rude to me, or if I don't get the promotion? What is the worst thing that can happen? I'm still going to be here. So can you share the did you die meaning?
Yeah. So one, those are words I pretty much live by all the time, because I feel like it makes me fearless, but for some reason it doesn't feel prevalent in social interactions for me. Not sure why, but it's something I'm working on. But in doing, or like if you go to the field, it's like a field or a deployment type of mindset, or just day to day, because the other phrase that's very common in the military is expect the worst, but hope for the best. So going in, you already expect this is going to be the worst day of my life, right? But on the flip side, it may not be. So I hope it's not, but but there's a good enough chance that it is. So I'm prepared for that. And it sets you up preparation wise to not fantasize or get the disappointment. If I'm going to the field, like, all right, this is going to be the worst day. It's probably going to rain. I'm probably not going to get a place to use the bathroom. I'm probably not getting food today. I'm probably sleeping in the dirt. And, I'm going to get eaten up by the spiders tonight. But it would be nice if they come with tents or bathrooms, or maybe even bring some food, so that everything that does come feels like a blessing, but you're prepared to not receive any blessings that day.
Yeah, and that's interesting. And how can you turn that into the manifestation of control of my own thoughts? Yes, you're prepared. You're not expecting anything, and whatever comes is a blessing and a good thing. Is that the same approach of what we're talking about with regard to good thoughts? Does that directly apply, or is there a little variance of that? Do you understand what I'm asking?
I feel like what I'm getting from your question
Yes.
is just in life, right? Like, how do you apply that mindset to the day-to-day? And is it prevalent? And I would say one thing for me is I try to just take life as like an experience. Like I've been doing a lot of reflection, a lot of like thinking about death, but not like trying to die, more like just thinking one day I will die. That could be 20 minutes from now. It could be 50 years from now. But that just means everything right now is a temporary experience. So with
you have
these
to enjoy
temporary,
the most of it. You
Yeah.
have to embrace every single moment. I embrace every single moment. Like, what you should see is the more you cherish life, the more you see from life. And I've noticed that, and I'm like, hey, I embrace every moment. I love every moment, because the more you think about that, the more you enjoy those moments and you bring those back. It's all based upon dopamine. It's all really just based upon dopamine, like how you feel about things.
and I'm not religious per se. I have followed a lot of different religions to gain religious like awareness. I'm more spiritual, but one, I'm only pointing this out because this is within like Buddhist philosophy, is they kind of take life as within their enlightenment as an experience, and that when you see life as an experience, not something that you can connotate negatively or positively. Like there's a story that talks about this guy's son goes to the field and he gets hurt. And when he gets hurt, this guy says, oh man, that's so bad. Like your son got hurt, what are you gonna do? And he's like, it's not bad, it's not good. And you know, let's it play out. Then a horse ends up coming and they have a horse and the horse just so happened to be like a lost horse that had like bandages and stuff, so they could fix it. Like, oh man, this is like the luckiest day of your life. And he's like, you know, it's not bad, it's not good, it's just another day.
Yeah.
And so he patches it up. The horse ends up getting something like, has like some sort of disease, right? And it ends up infesting the fields that he's harvesting. And he's like, oh man, this is like the worst day possible now. Like, this has to be the worst day now. And he's like, it's not bad, it's not good, we'll see like what happens. 6 months from now, all that area that had gotten like corrupted or whatever, pollination had brought like a different sort of plant there that wasn't growing in the area, and it became a cash crop. They're like, wow, you're the luckiest person like for that to happen.
Yeah,
And it continues, but it continues along that path for the remainder of the story, just to show like, you know, you can't get, it's not about getting too up or too down, but like you have to understand everything is an experience, and that you don't let it sway you one way or the other too far. You just recognize it for what it is.
You remember to neutralize the energy is trying to throw you off. I see this all as like emotion. So it's like, okay, if somebody is trying to get you off course, they're going to try to poke you and try to make you not believe in yourself.
Or just life too.
Or just life
is a
itself.
balance.
Life is a balance too. So imagine if life was trying to throw you things that get you off the thought of you being successful.
Right.
So you have to start saying, oh, okay, life, I see. Now you're going to start working the other way for me. Start thinking that way instead of fighting the thoughts of life working against you. It's working with you.
Yeah.
Some people don't see it that way.
Right, so it's not good, this, something happened, it's not good, it's not bad, it is. And isn't there peace just when you say that? It's not good, it's not bad, it just is. And I guess.
Harmonious thought.
Yes, I love it. And when I hear that, I just want to make sure that the vibrations and the energy and the optimism and the hope and the love and the gratitude, it's up here,
Yeah.
right? And so I want to, this is, for me, I want to be up here. It's not good. It's not bad. It's here. And you know what? Here is freaking awesome.
Exactly.
Right?
You're at balance. You're at balance. You're at peace. You're not fighting yourself. You're saying, hey, okay, what direction am I going? Oh, for me, I'm going this way, and I'm gonna stick to it, and I'm gonna keep going that way. And the more I pour into me, the more I see. I've been telling people to invest in themselves more. The more you invest in yourself, don't you see more in you winning? You're betting on yourself. Why are you not betting on yourself? Isn't life about betting on yourself and investing in yourself? So why don't you start that business today?
And I think it's very important, and this is my last piece, just as Bart said, you're here now. Like, you don't know if you'll ever be here ever again, but so far as you know, you've never been in the same spot twice. So if you're not here, whether you die, whether you're alive, or whether just tomorrow, you don't get this moment again. So you just got to make the most of it.
And stop worrying about things.
Just be here.
Yeah, and stop worrying about things in the past or things in the future, because the worries are probably not gonna help anyway. And I learned this.
Worry words don't work.
Yeah.
Worries lead to empty thought. They're like zeros in the brain. So do not think zero thoughts. You hear me? Worries don't bring anything.
And the last thing I wanted to share for both of you.
Negative one thoughts.
Yeah, negative. So you want to make your plus ones every day, or plus 1,000s, plus 1 millions. I was telling people like, hey, how much do you want in your bank account? We just literally pinned it this morning. This rising. I redact that. This rising. We were talking about putting plus signs on our bank accounts, and I was like, how much do you guys want? They're like, plus 1 billion. I was like, no, more. They're like, more. The more you think, the more you allow. Think bigger, expand your mind. Why limit your mind to how much you can bring into for yourself?
Because think about when we started this 3 weeks ago, it was just an idea. We set up through StreamYard. We did it twice via Zoom. Third time, we're in person. We're getting goosebumps. We're getting more and more followers. We're distributing it and sharing the ideas with more and more people. That's building upon that floor, that foundation that you were saying. One last thing that I wanted to share is when something negative happens to you, you're perceiving it as happening to you. Let's say you run into a person that is, let's say you're in the service industry and someone's just really, really mean to you. And I saw this on some social media.
That's projection.
Projection.
Somebody's being mean to you, they're projecting how they feel about themselves onto you.
It probably has nothing
Nothing
to
to
do
do at all.
with me. I'm sorry you're having a bad day. I'm sorry you're having a bad day. But just imagine someone being mean to me. What could I do or negative to me? Someone does literally this physically. They're like, you know what? Think of that. Like,
I wipe you off.
yeah, I wipe that negative thought away from me. I don't feel, no, I feel negative thoughts. I don't feel well. I feel good.
Yeah.
I could not be better, right? Get that out of there.
I told this lady, like, she said, wait 1 minute. Okay, so I told this lady, she's like, hey, I feel like negative vibes on me. I'm like, well, it's all about your intent. So I said, get a coconut, kick it around your whole entire house, but all your intent. I want you to think, hey, everything that is bad for me is getting into this coconut. And as soon as I throw this coconut out, all that bad energy is gone. She said, word? I said, yes. She goes to the store and she can't find any coconuts now. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, I couldn't find any. I'm like, okay, so now, it's your first challenge.
Or that means you have no problems together.
Yes. No problems.
I could find one to kick around with the problems.
Exactly. There's no problem.
That's fine. I mean, that's a story right there.
Exactly. She started to look at it. She's like, wait a minute. Because the intent is the coconut is to capture all the negative energy and throw it away. So it was a funny thing that I did in my first apartment because I thought it was haunted. But it was just really me thinking too, your imagination can literally make anything. So don't let your mind think too crazy.
No, for sure.
Control yourself.
For sure.
And just to recap today, because it looks like we're coming to a close, today is all about mastering oneself. That's the whole reason we're speaking with you guys. We want you to think outside the box, change your perspective. Life is all about accumulating perspective. So the more perspective you can gain on any issue, the better you'll make a decision. My name's Darian. You can find me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, GoDarian _, or on LinkedIn, just Darian Collette.
And Darian, D-A-R-I-A-N. And Collette is spelled
Collette.
Yep. I want to make that assumption, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and then I want you to wrap it up. If you don't mind.
Gotcha.
So Bart Berkey, come from the world of hospitality, and the name of my company is Most People Don't. So please go to mostpeopledon't.com. There's no apostrophe between the N and the T. There's great resources, great information, and I'm very proud and honored to be able to work with both of you to create something new. I mean, we each have our own venues, but collectively we are the new nation of motivation. So thank you all for listening, and back to Kirby.
Hey everyone, so my name is Kervin Hart, and you can find me on TikTok, on every social media. It's Kervin Hart, KervinHeart, yes, Kervin Hart. I'm sorry, I apologize. I had a little hiccup just there.
Oh,
It was
you're
like,
all good.
it was just like stuck. It was like, I'm just kidding. So Kervin Hart on every social media. I had a little hiccup, yo. It was a little funny one too.
Somebody's trying to stop you. Huh?
Yeah, for real. Like, it was like right in the middle of my speech. It was like, hey, yo, it's okay. We all amazing and we can do anything. And no matter what you say, you can do anything.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. You're amazing.